The first time you come to Catalina Island can feel like you're stepping into Jurassic Park. It's often termed the Magic Isle. You experience this quietness. You feel totally alone for a moment. You feel the vastness of it, the timelessness of it. You almost feel the stories of all the people who've been here before you. That deep connection is something that brings people back to the island.
The deeper you dig, the more you see. You have to come to Catalina multiple times before you meet all of her sides. When I was an 8-year-old, I came out to Catalina Island to camp. It's just magic to see the light bulb go on when you connect with the natural world. And you're like, wow.
When I first moved out to Catalina, I understood the beauty of it right away. It like struck me down. This place holds significance to people. I heard stories of, oh, I saw my first bald eagle on Catalina Island. I got engaged on Catalina Island. That's where I threw my father's ashes, was on Catalina Island. And our job as the Conservancy is to protect the land and the species so that people can continue to enjoy it into the future.
I actually was a really shy kid growing up, and I liked working with animals because it was, not people. And I didn't feel, judged by the animals, even though they were definitely judging. I just had a dream of conserving wildlife. It's definitely been a journey of understanding what it means to care for animals because, when I'm a kid, it's like save them all, heal all the wounds, give them a kiss on the head. And, growing up, learning that it is a lot more complex than that. And animals don't like it when you pet them or give them a kiss on the head generally.
The non-native bison was kind of like our hook. You would come to the island to see a bison because it's a novelty, but you would leave the island wanting to see a fox. They're cute.
The Catalina Island Fox is a subspecies that you find only on Catalina Island.
I think the fox are awesome. They're wonderful animals to watch. They have a ton of personality.
Island animals tend not to be as skittish as mainland animals, so you have a decent chance of seeing one. When species evolve, sometimes they become tiny versions of their mainland counterparts, so they're radically cute.
These foxes grew up on an island and they've evolved for thousands of years to not have to hide. They are the top dogs. They have no predators. They're so unique and so fragile at the same time. They don't have exposure to a lot of diseases that would be circulating on the mainland. And so they don't have the immune system to fight diseases. And so when a raccoon stowed away and brought over a novel strain of canine distemper, which is a virus, it wiped out the population. They just had no immune defenses against it.
Foxes are very communal, and as we have seen in recent events, that when you have a very close community, disease can spread very quickly.
But luckily, it was caught before the entire population was infected.
The geography of Catalina, it narrows down to a half-mile wide stretch of land that separates the east end from the west end. All of the east end of the island population was pretty much gone. They were able to capture the majority of the foxes that were left out on the west end and start a captive breeding program. And that was spearheaded by the Institute for Wildlife Studies in collaboration with the Catalina Island Conservancy.
They were able to find this pre-existing vaccine for canine distemper that worked on our foxes.
It was really a remarkable effort to breed up the population and re-release it into the wild. It's our moral responsibility to react because we brought the raccoon over. We could have chosen to lose the species forever, or we could choose to turn that around and actually fix a problem that we have created. What we do now is a very extensive program where we vaccinate a good portion of the population.
Foxes are very trap happy. They're active in the daytime. They have no predators out here, so they're very bold. They don't know to be afraid. And so they are very happy to go into the traps. And we have incredibly high trap success. We'll get a weight of the fox while it's in the trap. So we can estimate their body condition.
See if it does anything. Sorry.
They're really feisty, so you have to be really careful to not get bit.
Sorry.
Yes, I have been bitten. But we made a deal. He let me go if I let him go. Even though it looks and sometimes even acts like a dog, you've got to be thinking in your mind, this is a wild animal, which means any time that it is in your hand, it's probably feeling stress.
We go in with gloved hands and pull the fox out of the trap.
We know every time that we touch that fox, we know exactly what we did to it and when. We look at the teeth and we're like, oh, it's about 1 year old. That's when they are the most susceptible with their immune system. We'd put a mask and muzzle on. They do calm right down.
Oh, beautiful puppy ears.
We treat their ears for an ear mite.
They get vaccinated for both rabies and canine distemper. It looks just like you would if you've ever seen your pet dog get a shot.
And then we let them go on their merry way.
All right, now we're done, honey.
And then we leave about 40 to 70 unvaccinated with collars.
These foxes are kind of like our canary in the coal mine. They are our early detection system for any novel threats to the island. They are young, so they haven't had exposure to a lot of illnesses. Just like you or me, we need to get vaccines when we're babies because our immune systems are completely naive. They're the most likely to die if something comes over because they have no tools to fight it. This is what our radio collars look like. Each of them has a unique frequency that the foxes are constantly transmitting. This just goes around their neck. So that is the sound of a live fox. We can hear that this fox is alive because the beep is nice and slow.
We drive around the island with these big antennas and check on them bi-monthly. When we put the receiver on that particular fox's frequency and we listen for the little beeping sound,
I actually can hear it.
we'll know that it's alive and well.
Got him. Whoop. The fox will show up here and they're all in numeric order. So you can scroll through which fox we're looking for. As we're driving, you can scroll and listen for the other ones. foxes. So now that we've got this fox.
Yeah, this is Fox 063004.
Yep. So we mark off that we heard it. 06304. All of these points indicate where we've heard it before. So we're going to put one right here. You go a little bit crazy when you're doing telemetry, listening for that beep. There is intrinsic value just in existing, especially with keystone species. You take one away, even though that might be a small population, they have a huge impact on the functioning of the entire ecosystem. They keep down rodent populations or insect populations. They create microhabitats that other animals can use, like woodpeckers pecking into a hole that something else could go into, or the ground squirrels making burrows that then owls can move into. Everything is so interconnected. We got to make sure that all the pieces are working together, or it could cause ecosystem collapse.
Islands are the center of the biodiversity crisis, where we lose the most species, but they're also the place where our actions make the biggest difference.
Ah, shoot, is that thing fruiting already?
Yes, it has.
Ugh, that makes me sad. We're taking out weeds. We're creating a lot less seed with what we're doing. Ah, it is totally going fruit already. If you don't manage it, it slowly takes over and becomes the dominant vegetation. We remove the mature plant.
Yeah, that's good. Cool, thanks. Ready for herbicide.
You cut it, and then you apply a small amount of herbicide to the cut stump, and then it doesn't grow back. Foxes do better with healthy, natural, native vegetation. Managing invasive plants is one of the most effective ways to ensure the long-term viability of all the biodiversity of Catalina. All of these native plants have been out here evolving for eons, and they all have really specific relationships with pollinators, wildlife. So when you lose that, you're watching the actual web of life shift, and it's no longer that unique thing that you only find out here on Catalina and nowhere else.
This is the Catalina manzanita. Occurs nowhere else in the world but Catalina Island. And this is a real important plant for foxes. This is the manzanita seeds. It's really hard. This is like a super tough seed. There's a little actual plant inside there, but it's got a really thick, almost rock-like seed coat. It allows it to go through the digestion of a fox. It will go through a fox's gut, be distributed, and it has a little bit of nutrients where it can then grow and create more fox habitat. The fruits of the prickly pear are great for foxes. Some of them will have just like juices of the cactus fruit all over their face. I don't want to say that the plants are smarter than foxes, but they have tricked them to be able to distribute their seed out into different areas and continue that habitat for that fox. So it's kind of they're working together.
You don't ever want to feed them, even if it's their natural food, because what's going to happen is they're going to associate you with food. It's going to draw them to the roads. You are basically consigning it to becoming roadkill. So don't feed it.
The Catalina Island Fox was listed as a federally endangered species, and it underwent one of the fastest recoveries and was downgraded to a federally threatened species in 2016.
They're resilient. They faced really crazy hardships and they've prevailed. So it's a huge success story for how the island came together to save the species.
A maintenance program is so much easier than a recovery program. And the vaccination only lasts so long. So we have to vaccinate every year.
We don't want to get too comfortable because you never know what next threat could be and how quickly it could impact the foxes. The constant flow of people to this island definitely brings a lot of threats to the fox population. But the more people that can come out and see the magic of the island, the more that they're going to want to care for it and protect it going forward. We are actually able to do the work because of private donors funding us and giving us this buffer so that no matter what the political climate is, we can continue to get this work done.
We can successfully turn things around and save species from extinction. That's a big deal. Extinction is forever. The idea of that loss is tragic. Think about your children or grandchildren wanting to come here and see this remarkable species instead of just reading about it or looking at pictures in a textbook. With the trajectory we're on, I do believe that this is going to be a much more biodiverse island where animals can really thrive.
I always kind of hoped that I would be a part of something bigger than myself and a big conservation effort. Yeah, it's definitely something that baby Katie would be proud of herself now for.
Thank you.